Hello friends, welcome to Manu Law Classes. मेरा नाम गौतम दीक्षित है. Today in this video we are going to discuss the topics from the Hindu edition of 23rd November 2022. So let's start with the topic. आज का न्यूज़पेपर थोड़ा important है because we are going to discuss about the Data Protection Bill 2022. Along with that we will also discuss रोजगार मेला project Unnati and we will see OECD forecast for global growth on the economic page. And India-Australia trade at I2U2. So these are some of the important news from today's newspaper. So let's start. The first is Supreme Court calls out center over short tenures of Chief Election Commissioner. So Chief Election Commissioners Article 324 of the Constitution deals with Election Commission. Article 324. तो यहाँ पे है कि Article 324 में that Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners to be appointed by the President. यहाँ पे अगर आप देखेंगे इलेक्शन कमीशन कंडीशन ऑफ सर्विसेज ऑफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर्स एंड ट्रांजैक्शन ऑफ बिजनेस एक्ट ऑफ 1991 में सेक्शन 4 है which sets the term for CEC Chief Election Commissioner and election commissioners as 6 years or till the age of 65 whichever is earlier. Now सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज हैं जस्टिस KM जोसेफ. इन्होंने कहा है कि द गवर्नमेंट इज पेइंग लिप सर्विस टू द इंडिपेंडेंस ऑफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर्स बिकॉज the tenures of chief election commissioners which was earlier 8 years in 1950 is now currently few hundred days after 2004. मतलब ये कह रहे हैं कि 2004 के बाद से देखा जा रहा है कि जो चीफ इलेक्शन कमिश्नर्स हैं उनका जो टेन्योर है इट इज several hundred days, मतलब एक साल भी नहीं, ओके, जस्ट several hundred days. ठीक, कि मतलब उनको इस तरीके से अपॉइंट किया जा रहा है कि there are few days left till the chief election commissioner and election commissioner attain the age of 65 days and they retire. Now the present election commissioner is Dr. Rajiv Kumar. Okay, so he was appointed as the 25th chief election commissioner of India after Sushil Kumar Chandra. So now he is saying that UPA government में 6 chief election commissioners थे 8 सालों में. And if you will see from 2015 to 2022, okay, it has gone for within these 7 years we had 8 chief election commissioner. Now the next is that the judge has said that protections under article 324 like removal through impeachment available under the constitution would be only of any use if he or she has a full term. Okay, मतलब full term का मतलब 6 years. ठीक है. अब अगर आप देखेंगे the removal of impeachment of chief election commissioners and election commissioners. So the procedure for removal of chief election commissioner and election commissioner is same as the Supreme Court judge. The next is Tamil Nadu gets its first biodiversity heritage site. So this is important. The Tamil Nadu government on Tuesday has issued a notification declaring Artipatti and Meenakshipuram village in Madurai district the first biodiversity heritage site in state. The next is India-Australia Trade Pact set to open up opportunities. So India-Australia का Trade Pact है which was ratified by the Australian Parliament and it will significantly open up opportunities for many Indian businesses. Okay, इसका जो नाम है formal नाम that is India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, that is ECTA, which was signed by India with previous Australian administration under Prime Minister Scott Morrison. Now the current Prime Minister of Australia is Anthony Albanese. Now coming to the Trade Pact again. So now this India-Australia Trade Pact, okay, so it is especially helpful for our pharmaceutical industries. So Indian pharma industries, they have already gone through a rigorous approval process in United States and UK, and it will be fast tracked in getting the approval from Australia. The next is India-UAE FTA. So India-UAE FTA, it was signed in February 18 and it came into force on May 1st. So this is also important. Okay, so we will see about India-UAE again on the next page. Okay, so let's see that news. India-UAE. So see, India and UAE hold talks on food security cooperation. So यहाँ पे अगर आप देखेंगे कि it is we are discussing this under I2U2. I2U2 मतलब एक इसको कहते हैं West Asian Quadrilateral Group. It includes Israel, India, US and UAE. So over here India and UAE, they are going ahead with food security cooperation under I2U2. So if you will just see, a delegation was led by CEO of ADQ which visited India in October to take discussions forward with different stakeholders. So this ADQ It is an active investor and a sovereign wealth fund located in Abu Dhabi. Now about I2U2. So I2U2 Leaders Summit, it was held in July, and it decided to harness private capital among the member countries for projects on agriculture, infrastructure, digital connectivity, water, energy and transportation. Now the next is that the two sides, they have taken the note of the bilateral ties witnessed growth since the conclusion of comprehensive economic partnership agreement. ये हम बात कर रहे हैं किसका, UAE, India UAE FTA which came into effect on 1st May. अब अगर हम देखें, so India's export to UAE between April September 2022 they were about $16 billion, which is an increase of 24% year to year, while India's import has increased 38% to reach $28.4 billion in the same time period. Now the next is the recently appointed election commissioner of India. So retired IAS officer Arun Kumar, he was appointed as the third election commissioner. He is not a chief election commissioner. Chief election commissioner is Dr. Rajiv Kumar. So Arun Goel has been appointed as the third election commissioner in November 2022. Now the next is the first chief election commissioner of India. So the first chief election commissioner of India was Sukumar Sen, and if you will just see that his tenure was for 8 years and 273 days, matlab almost 9 years. The next is Rozgar Mela. So this Rozgar Mela is very important. So if you will just see Rozgar Mela, so प्राइम मिनिस्टर पहले इन्होंने अनाउंस किया था that 10 lakh existing central government vacancies would be filled by December 2023. So इसके अंदर फर्स्ट रोजगार मेला अक्टूबर में हुआ था, जहाँ पे 75,000 अपॉइंटमेंट लेटर्स were handed over to the newly inducted appointees. Now the second Rozgar Mela has happened, where Prime Minister again distributed about 71,000 appointment letters to new recruits via video conferencing. The next is Rajnath proposes role for women in UN peacekeeping. So Defense Minister Rajnath Singh on Tuesday made two proposals for expanding the scope and depth of India-ASEAN defense relations. So the first is, he is saying that including women in United Nations peacekeeping operations, and the next is marine plastic pollution. So the India-ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting, it was held at Siam Reap in Cambodia to commemorate the 30th anniversary of India-ASEAN relation. So we already know that in 1992 Look East policy was announced, which was later upgraded to Act East policy. Now the next is that Rajnath Singh, he has informed the significant work done by the National Cadet Corps in cleaning of Indian beaches and raising awareness of plastic pollution in the coastal community. The next is Project Unnati. So skill training of MGNREGS workers lag, center blames it on the states. So there is one Project Unnati. So if you will just see the Project Unnati, it was launched in 2020. The goal of Project Unnati was to skill-based training of 25,000 persons and to achieve the target of 2 lakh by 2022. But by the end of 2022, only 25,000 persons have been trained. Okay, so this is the program which aims to reduce dependence on the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme by imparting skill training to its beneficiaries. Now if you will just see that in this program, the aim is to train at least one adult member of a household that has completed 100 days of work under the MGNREGS. तो देखिए इसका गोल ये है कि at least 20% of the households that have completed 100 days of work under MGNREGS should be targeted by states under Project Unnati scheme. The goal is, they say, कि जो 100 day पूरा काम कर रहा है मनरेगा के अंदर, it shows that family is completely dependent for their livelihood on मनरेगा, so they need skill upgradation to improve their income more. तो इस प्रोजेक्ट में जो सिलेक्टेड कैंडिडेट्स होते हैं, दे आर स्किल यूजिंग 3 एस्टेब्लिश्ड ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम्स. फर्स्ट इज दीन दयाल उपाध्याय ग्रामीण कौशल योजना, देन रूरल सेल्फ ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट एंड कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र. Then the next scheme is the Gramin Kaushal Yojana. Okay, it is a placement linked program in which 70% of the trained candidates have to be compulsorily employed with a minimum salary of ₹6,000 per month. The next is from foreign page. We already know Indonesia में earthquake है. So Indonesia earthquake toll jumps to 268. तो यहाँ पे देखिए ये जानना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है कि इंडोनेशिया के जो मेन आइलैंड है, दैट इज जावा आइलैंड, ओके, यहाँ पे ये अर्थक्वेक स्ट्राइक किया है। इसका जो मैग्नीट्यूड था ऑन रिक्टर स्केल, अर्थक्वेक की इंटेंसिटी मेजर करने के लिए हम रिक्टर स्केल का यूज़ करते हैं, ठीक है। सो ऑन रिक्टर स्केल द मैग्नीट्यूड ऑफ अर्थक्वेक वाज 5.6 एंड द एपिसेंटर मतलब एग्जैक्टली अर्थक्वेक कहाँ ओरिजिनेट हुआ, ठीक है। It was near the town of Yanzhou where most of the victims were killed. Now if you will just see Indonesia, ठीक है, and Java, so they, you will see that they somewhere they lie on plate margins, ठीक है ना. The earth crust, it is built up of many plates, okay, which are moving, okay, and whenever they move they are the site of volcanism and earthquake, okay. The second is Erdogan signals ground operation into Syria. So see, Turkey has launched an aerial strike against Kurdish base in Iraq and Syria. उसका जो operation का नाम है that is Operation Claw Sword. So Ankara has launched a series of air strikes on Kurdish bases in Iraq and Syria. Especially they are targeting the Kurdistan Workers Party, which is blacklisted as a terror group by European Union and United States. The next is Putin unveils Russia's Arctic power with launch of nuclear icebreakers. So this is very important. So if you will just see that a flag raising ceremony was attended, okay, by Russia's President Vladimir Putin, and there was a launch of 2 nuclear powered icebreakers that will ensure year round navigation in Western Arctic region. So यहाँ पे अगर हम देखेंगे the launch ceremony is of icebreaker Yakutia. So this icebreaker Yakutia is 173.3 meter Yakutia with a displacement of 33,540 tons. Then there are 2 other icebreakers in the same series, Arctica and Siberia, which are already in service, and another one that is Chukotka. It is scheduled for launch in 2026. Then there will be a super powerful nuclear 209 meter icebreaker known as Rosia. It will be completed by 2027. Now, what is the significance of Arctic region? So the Arctic is taking on greater strategic significance due to climate change. So climate change से यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? There is a shrinking ice cap which is opening up new sea routes, and it is also a reserve of washed oil and natural gas in Russia's Arctic region, and including a liquefied natural gas plant of Yamal Peninsula. The next is US-China defense chiefs meet in Cambodia, discuss Taiwan and competition spirit. So US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, he has met his Chinese counterpart Wei Fenghi in Cambodia, okay, with both sides describing the talk as productive without backing away from their core position, okay. The next is OECD, Europe to be hit hardest in global slowdown, says OECD. So OECD is Organization for Economic and Cooperation Development. It was established in 1961. It is headquartered in Paris, and it consists of around 38 developed countries with the aim of safeguarding democracy and market economy. It is a successor organization of Organization for European Economic Cooperation. Okay, Organization for European Economic Cooperation. This is the previous organization which later transformed into OECD in 1961. Okay, so this body was established in 1948. Later in 1961 it became OECD. It is headquartered in Paris. Okay. Now see what OECD has said. So the first thing it is said is that global economy, okay, to dodge recession in 2023. It is saying that recession, we cannot say that recession is coming, but certainly there will be a period of pronounced weakness, okay, but it will be worse than energy crisis of 1970. Then it says that world growth in 2022 to be better than forecasted in September at 3.1%, okay, and then in next year it will be 2.2%, and then again in 2024 it will be 2.7%. उसके बाद they are saying that after 1970 it is Europe which has been hit hardest during the present time. So it says that the world economic growth would slow down from 3.1% in 2022 to 2.2% in 2023, and in 2024 it will be 2.7%. Now, one liner. So, Billbox, a solution provider in the payment and merchant ecosystem in India, it has introduced TapTap. So, TapTap has been introduced by Billbox. It is a wearable device facilitating contactless payment in association with NSDL Payments Bank and Visa. Okay, so the objective is to use the accessories payment and provide convenience to users. Now, coming to editorial, so again we are discussing the data protection bill. So over here we will see the important points. Now see, the new draft, unlike the 2018 version, मतलब जो new DPDP bill है, now see what are the changes. So the new draft, okay, does not refer to key data protection principles such as collection limitation. Now, what is collection limitation? It is obligation on the data fiduciary to collect only such personal data that is required for the purpose of processing. Okay, and it also does not include obligations on data fiduciaries to inform principals about data sharing recipients, duration of storage, etc. Okay, the next, it includes a crucial clause on data fiduciaries notifying the data principals and the data protection authority about breaches in stored data. The next thing is, which is important, is the new draft. It proposes the establishment of Data Protection Board of India. Earlier, the 2018 version had introduced Data Protection Authority, but now it will be replaced by Data Protection Board of India. But उसका जो strength है, composition है, process of selection है, it will be prescribed by Union Government. अगर हम देखेंगे जो BN Sri Krishna Committee, which had already formed the draft Data Protection Bill earlier, it allowed for judicial oversight in the selection process of Data Protection Authority, but now Union Government has full control over the process of selection, composition and strength of the new Data Protection Board. Then the 2018 bill, it allowed for exemptions to be granted to state institutions from acquiring informed consent from data principals. For example, if government wants exemptions from informed consent from data principal for processing their data related to security of state, so there was also a law to provide for parliamentary oversight and judicial approval of non-constitutional access. मतलब कि अगर स्टेट को चाहिए, ठीक है ना, कि हमको डेटा प्रिंसिपल का कंसेंट नहीं चाहिए, तो उसके लिए पार्लियामेंट्री अप्रूवल या जुडिशियल अप्रूवल जैसा एक मैकेनिज्म एस्टेब्लिश करने के लिए कहा था BN श्री कृष्णा कमेटी ने. बट अगर हम न्यू ड्राफ्ट बिल देखेंगे, so it has provided exemptions allowing for the executive to collect information which would amount to mass surveillance. Okay, now continuing in the same strand, if you will see a bill protecting state surveillance, and another article on the same topic has come. So over here, if you will just see, तो यहाँ पे there are blanket exemptions. So if you will just see clause 18(2) of the 2022 bill, it allows the union government to provide blanket exemptions for selected government agencies. ठीक है, बट अगर हम इसको कंपेयर करेंगे US और यूरोपियन यूनियन के मॉडल से, so if you will just see that यूरोपियन यूनियन और US यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में they permit security agencies to claim exemptions on a case by case basis, not a blanket exemption, which is the case in this thing. Second, if you will just see that other jurisdictions, they exercise meaningful oversight over state surveillance. For example, अगर आप देखेंगे investigatory power tribunal in the UK is authorized to hear complaints against misuse of surveillance power, and they can impose monetary penalties in case of breach. But India के वर्जन में क्या है, that exempted state agencies and private entities will not be within the purview of the Data Protection Board. मतलब there is no oversight on mass surveillance. Okay. The next is that if you will just compare the other bills such as the Criminal Procedure Identification Act 2022, it allows for collection and storage of biometric data for 75 years. Now some factual information. So एक बार हम फिर से रिवाइज कर लेंगे. So if you will just see the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, it has released the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill 2022. एंड ड्राफ्ट अभी रिलीज हुआ है पब्लिक कमेंट के लिए. ये फॉर्मली इंट्रोड्यूस होगा बजट सेशन में. अब ये जो जर्नी है विच स्टार्टेड इन 2011 व्हेन डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पर्सोनल एंड ट्रेनिंग इनिशिएटेड डिस्कशन ऑन राइट टू प्राइवेसी बिल 2011. तो उस वक्त के जो अटॉर्नी जनरल थे गुलाम वाहनवटी, ही हैड सेड दैट गवर्नमेंट कैन कैरी आउट इंटरसेप्शन ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन बट इट शुड बी स्पेल्ड आउट इन द बिल. Then the same thing was echoed or was reiterated by experts on privacy headed by Justice AP Shah. अब अगर हम देखेंगे इंडिया में सर्वेलेंस आर्किटेक्चर, so the surveillance architecture in India, it comprises mainly of section 5T of Indian Telegraph Act, section 69 of Information Technology Act 2000 and procedural rules. But there are certain loopholes in that. The first is that it does not contain safeguards such as ex ante or ex post facto independent review of interception डायरेक्शंस, जैसे कि इंटरसेप्ट करने के लिए डायरेक्शन तो दे दिया गया है बट उसका ओवरसाइट कोई नहीं कर रहा है कि भाई किस कंडीशन में दिया गया, अप्रूवल जो था वो अप्रोप्रिएट था या नहीं था. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द लूप होल्स. इफ अगेन वी विल सी दैट दिस मास सर्वेलेंस, सो यहाँ पे जो है एजिटेशन ओवर द नेचर ऑफ सर्वेलेंस आर्किटेक्चर, इट वाज वॉइस्ड बाय सुप्रीम कोर्ट इन इट्स प्राइवेसी डिसीजन इन 2017, that is Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union State of Karnataka. And then when Justice B.N. Sri Krishna Committee was formed in 2018 to prepare a draft of the bill, in that also this surveillance architecture issue was there, that how to deal with this surveillance. अब हम देखें the draft Personal Data Protection Bill 2019 which has been withdrawn in August, and the draft Protection Bill 2021-2022 bill, they have no proposals for surveillance reforms. The next is a strategy to save the National Suicide Prevention Strategy. So the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, they have published a National Suicide Prevention Strategy. अगर हम इंडिया में देखेंगे तो इसका जो एम है नेशनल सुसाइड प्रिवेंशन स्ट्रेटेजी का, दैट इज टू reduce suicide mortality by 10% by 2030. अगर हम ग्लोबली देखें, then suicide it is the second leading cause of death among youngsters, especially 15 to 29 years old, and it is the second leading cause of death for females aged 15 to 19 years as per WHO. अगर हम इंडिया में देखें, then more than 1 lakh lives are lost every year to suicide, and in past 3 years the suicide rate has increased from 10.2 to 11.3 per 1 lakh population. Now, as according to NCRB data, the leading states in suicides are Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal and Karnataka, where the suicide range is 8% to 11%. The next is the common reasons for suicide. It includes family problems and illness, okay, then martial conflicts, love affairs, bankruptcy, substance abuse and dependency. उसके बाद अगर हम देखेंगे तो 10% ऑफ द केसेस के जो रीजंस होते हैं सुसाइड के, दे आर अननोन. नाउ कमिंग टू द स्ट्रैटेजी, दैट व्हाट इज द स्ट्रैटेजी. सो द स्ट्रैटेजी इज टू एस्टेब्लिश इफेक्टिव सर्वेलेंस मैकेनिज्म विद इन नेक्स्ट 3 years, psychiatric outpatient department in all districts over 5 years. Then the strategy intends to write in mental health, including mental health in the curriculum in educational institutions. The other issues which are relevant, which can help in preventing suicide, is like access to pesticides to be restricted, working on reducing alcoholism. These are some of the other strategies where author is proposing to reduce the suicide in India. So friends, that's all for today. We will meet tomorrow again with a daily Hindu analysis. Till then, have a nice time. Take care. Thank you.